The China Report for Monday, March 18, 2013. China replaces Britain in world's top 5 arms exporters. China has become the world's 5th largest arms exporter, a respected Sweden-based think tank said on Monday, its highest ranking since the Cold War, with Pakistan the main recipient. China's volume of weapons exports between 2008 and 2012 rose 162% compared to the previous 5-year period, with its share of the global arms trade rising from 2% to 5%. Ironic that China bans gun ownership, yet is set to become, perhaps the world's #1, or #2 weapons exporter in the future. China new home prices rise for second straight month. New home prices rose in 66 of China's 70 major cities in February, underlining the challenge its new leaders face in controlling the sector. Keeping property prices in check has been a key agenda for Beijing, not least due to fears of asset bubbles. Earlier this month, China unveiled fresh measures, including higher down payment requirements, to try and curb speculation in the sector. However, there are fears that excessive tightening may hurt economic growth. The government is in a really difficult situation. It needs to keep the housing prices in check to keep them affordable for the average Chinese. However, each new housing policy has had an opposite effect. Should the government allow market forces to self-correct? Reforming China's prison system. China's re-education through labor system was set up in the 1950s to silence political opponents. Today it's used to lock up undesirables like drug addicts and prostitutes, along with those like Tang Hui who complain too loudly about injustices, or people who are members of religious movements banned by the Communist Party. Some had expected reforms might come sooner. Many believe the police are resisting change, unwilling to give up the enormous powers they enjoy. One thing is for sure, if China is to have greater social change, it needs to adjust an outdated group of policies regarding crime. Labor camps must close for good if China is to build a just and fair society. The Great Leap Back. The unsustainable trajectory of China's development arc has been long understood. That's why Chinese policymakers have been talking about rebalancing China's economy since at least 2006. Less well understood is that the imbalances have been getting worse and quite how toxic it can be. With GDP set to exceed 9 trillion this year, China's investment share of close to 50% means that without radical reform of its economic model and financial system that pulls back the investment share, the economy will make new investments see the gross flow into the capital stock of almost 20 trillion in the next 4 years. While a substantial part of these investments will inevitably be wasteful and, so, depreciate quickly, such a mind-bogglingly large investment flow will inevitably see China's energy consumption and pollution levels continue to soar. With great growth, comes great recessions. What goes up, must come down. China military officials admit ship radar lock. Senior Chinese military officials have admitted for the first time that a ship locked its radar on a Japanese destroyer during the two nations' spat over disputed islands. In one of the more serious incidents in an escalating row over ownership of the islands in the East China Sea, Tokyo said the Chinese vessel effectively had a Japanese ship in its sights earlier this year. Beijing has consistently denied the allegation and accused Tokyo of hyping the China threat, in a bid to manipulate world public opinion against its giant neighbor. Tokyo has also charged a Chinese ship locked its radar on a Japanese helicopter in the middle of January. China's defense ministry has said in a statement that on both occasions the Chinese shipboard radar maintained normal operations and fire control radar was not used. Who's kidding who? That's the China Report for today. Zaijian.